closing bins, hoppers, silos or processing machinery containing materials with poor flowability, the use of an arc valve is often the most appropriate choice. Unlike butterfly valves, arc valves offer a free cross-section in the open position. An unhindered material flow is the result. Viewed from the top, no other free-flow valve offers smaller overall dimensions. The lining of the steel body of the VSS works as a seal. Thanks to the combination of the seal and the smooth finishing of the closing segment, the valve is 100% dust-proof. The main advantages and innovative features of WAM arc valves are: reduced overall dimensions, body lining made of WAM's polymer composite Syntex or of FDA-approved Centel for food-grade versions, closing segment entirely made of Syntex or Centel, fully protected bearings, a low-friction operation. Unlike butterfly valves, arc valves manage to cut through a material column provided the head load is not too high. VSS valves are available with nominal diameters ranging from 100 to 300 mm. Top and bottom flanges are in accordance with WAM standards. Along with the use of polymer composites, industrial manufacturing methods according to ISO 9002 quality system ensure high quality and a particularly favorable price-performance ratio. WAM's actuator range, including manually operated levers, electro-pneumatic and gear motor drives, represents the ideal complement to the valves. Quick delivery is guaranteed thanks to a constant amount of stock carried at the WAM factory in Italy and at its worldwide subsidiaries. During the following part of this video, please pay attention to the special safety notices. On receipt of the consignment, check that the codes on the packaging of the valve, the actuator and the position signaling device, if supplied, match with those in the invoice and in the acknowledgement of order. Handle all material with care. Remove all parts from their packaging. Note the assembly instructions contained in each package. Put the valve on a level surface so that the closing segment points down. Assemble the lever setting mask with a large side pointing upwards. Mount the lever with a bent part pointing towards the mask onto the spline shaft, ensuring the lever is placed in the closed position. Fasten the lever using the bolt, washer and knob supplied. In this case, put the valve on a level surface so that the closing segment points up. Before fitting the pneumatic cylinder, ensure the piston is fully retracted by turning the shaft with the aid of a spanner either to the left or to the right, as far as it will go. Now mount the pneumatic actuator, which has been pre-assembled complete with its accessories as shown in the video on actuators, onto the spline shaft, keeping it in a horizontal position and pointing to the right. If the valve segment does not close completely, even though the piston is fully retracted, disconnect the compressed air supply, loosen the large nut and the socket screw at the opposite end of the actuator, and move the valve segment manually until fully closed. Then turn the socket screw clockwise until you feel some resistance and fasten the nut in order to block the socket screw. Put the valve on a level surface so that the closing segment points up. Ensure that the actuator is at the end of the stroke by turning the shaft anti-clockwise with a spanner as far as it will go. Mount the actuator onto the splined valve shaft, keeping it square. Fix the actuator with the supplied bolts and tighten them according to the supplied instructions. Never put your hands between the closing segment and the valve body while the valve is working. Do not expose parts of your body to the compressed air jet. Follow general safety instructions. If the closing segment does not close completely, disconnect the compressed air supply and adjust the position of the end of stroke using the nut and bolt on the lower right part of the actuator. Mount the gear motor square onto the splined shaft by using the supplied bolts. Never put your hands between the closing segment and the valve body while the valve is working. Electrical connections must be carried out by qualified personnel only. Before doing any work on the valve and drive unit, disconnect the motor from the main supply. Follow general safety instructions. For correct installation, use appropriate nuts and bolts for the connection of the upper and the lower valve flange. The only wearing parts of WAM arc valves are, in case of highly abrasive materials, the incorporated seal, which cannot be replaced, and the closing segment. Although it is possible to substitute the closing segment, the unrivaled price-performance ratio of this valve range makes the purchase of a new valve the better option.